People, it's become kind of a tradition for the Mindfulness with Mark class that started back in 2020 originally to, after our check-in and expressing gratitude, to read a poem. The one I want to choose today is one of my favorite poems that I think hits home what mindfulness is all about. It's called The Guest House by Rumi. This being human is a guest house. Every morning a new arrival. A joy, a depression, a meanness, some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they are a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door, laughing, and invite them in. Be grateful for whatever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. One thing that we know about all guests that define the fact that they are guests is that they leave. And sometimes we forget that the thoughts that we have, the anger, the frustration, the sorrow, are temporary. Being able to become aware of those thoughts when we're having them gives us so much power. And this is what being mindful has a lot to do with. There's a famous quote by Dr. Viktor Frankl that says, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. And in our response lies our growth and our freedom." Anything can be a stimulus, something that you read, see on TV, something that someone says, and it causes some kind of reaction or response. If the space is very small, then that means you are basically operating on autopilot, and that neural connections that have been there for years and decades just automatically kick into play. Sometimes that's helpful. But if they're things like anger, frustration, irritation, anxiety, maybe not. If the space is wider, well, now we have the ability to choose a response. We shift from the emotional part of our brain to the thinking part of our brain and proceed in a mindful way. We're no longer enslaved by our automatic habits. Good thing, yeah? So, this is one of the reasons why we practice meditation. Because we know that when we practice meditation, it can help us widen that space, to increase that awareness, to give us a sense, an ability to pause, choose a different, mindful, wiser, more helpful response. So when we sit down to meditate, stuff's going to come up. Because whatever is most important or prominent in our mind, it's going to happen. Remember, when we sit down to meditate, we're not sitting down to meditate to make our minds blank. Okay? So unless you're studying to become a Buddhist monk, in which case this video is probably not for you, that's not going to happen. So when you have a thought, remember that's what the brain does. Just like the lungs breathe and the heart beats, our brains think. So when you have a thought, notice it. Remember, hey, I'm meditating. Let it go gently, without judgment. There's no such thing as a good meditator or a bad meditator. If you sit down to meditate, you are meditating. And it doesn't matter whether you've done it once or for decades, it's still a meditation practice. And the key is I'm going to practice this over and over and over again and make it a routine part of my day. And how do we begin a practice or restart a practice? Well, the simplest way, behavioral scientists have figured out, that it's to link it to something that you already do every day. Every day. And then, so instead of finding time to meditate, it's just, well, after I do this, I'm going to sit down and meditate. And then have some kind of reward for yourself afterwards. Maybe it's your cup of coffee. Maybe you give yourself just a little cheer like, I am freaking awesome. I just meditated. Whatever that might be, you want to release a little bit of dopamine, make you feel good, so you do it again. And that's how habits get started. Jon Kabat-Zinn said that mindfulness is paying attention on purpose in the present moment without judgment. And then sometimes he adds, as if your life depended on it. Because sometimes the choices that we make can actually have a major impact on our physical and emotional health. So build a meditation practice into your daily routine. Sit down somewhere. You can either do it unguided, where you just simply set a timer, choose to just notice your breath, and every time a thought comes up, notice it, say hello to the thought, come back to the breath. Or you can do a guided meditation, whether through other YouTube videos or a variety of different apps that are available. There's no wrong way to do it. Just get started. Thank you.